Hey NLP Masters, welcome to Efektas Group channel, where we turn complex psychology into simple, life-changing techniques. My name is Linas, I'm NLP trainer, and today we are going to dive into most frequently asked NLP questions. The reason why we are diving into this is because in the previous video where I made a guide how to set the anchors, there were some unclear questions and aspects that had to be covered. And before we dive into the real content, I would like you to understand that the real value behind the anchors is the intention that you set for yourself and for the other person that you are trying to set the anchor for. That has to be positive. It's always important to have positive intentions in NLP. That's ethical and moral to do. Second thing, it's never enough to have just read it online or in the book. You have to practice setting anchors for yourself and for the others and see what works and what doesn't, because we are all different and different things works for us. And in the video I was saying that anchors have to be unique. So anchors that you set for yourself might not work for someone else. And that requires experience, that requires practice and evolution. The third thing is that NLP anchors requires also to feel positive, empowering states. It requires you to think how these things can affect you or your client. So thinking long-term and whether it is ecological, meaning that whether it is not harming you or people around you or your client. So with the disclaimers set, let's go. And the first question is, what is the anchoring in simple terms? This is a great question. And anchoring in simple terms means that triggering the states that empowers you and helps you to overcome the challenges at that time. Let's say you have a challenge to go on the stage. You don't feel comfortable with the phone call, or you need to perform in some meeting, and you just don't feel like doing that, or you don't feel strong enough or confident enough to go and do it. NLP anchoring helps you to create a state where you feel confident, creative, and ready. The purpose of anchoring is to empower you, is to give you tools and resources that you have within you, but just don't feel in that moment. And anchoring is like a trigger, a button that is there and works in most of the cases. Depends on how strong or how well it is set. Hope that answers the question. The next one that we have on the list is anchoring scientifically validated. Does it really work? I can tell you from my experience that it is really working. It works with me, with my clients. Now, on the other hand, when people ask, is NLP scientifically proven, validated, verified? Well, it is not. By modern psychology, it is not, and there's always a huge debate about NLP and its effectiveness. However, NLP anchors are drawn from the classical Pavlov dog's example, which I shared in the video about NLP anchor guide, where a person created an anchor on his dogs just by ringing the bell and making them salivate. So this example shows that it's working, and I will not debate with the psychologists who are trained, but that is NLP working or not. It creates neural pathways in your brain that is a shortcut to go into the experience, into the feeling that you will need in that moment. At the same time, anchors and its efficiency depends on how well they are set, and some people might be debating whether it's working or not. And for those who had great set anchors, it's working, and for those who had poor set anchors, or those who are, let's say, expired over the time and needs to be reset, yes, those are not feeling those anchors at that well. But it's a really long topic, and the debate between practitioners and psychologists, what's effective and what's not. Me personally, I'm a practitioner. I always was practitioner, and I prefer to see what's working, and as long as it does, I do apply it. Okay, the next question is how NLP anchoring is different from other conditioning techniques. Other conditioning techniques are mostly unintentional, random, and it does not necessarily have a positive intention behind that. We have conditioning by our parents, by school, state, And we follow these things. We have conditioning by food, we have conditioning by our professional environment, which is great, which helps you to stay, let's say, intact. Whereas NLP anchoring is all about positive change. It's about creating you empowering state where you can perform at the moment when you need it. It's not something that you will be doing every day and following. It's something, let's say, more intentional, more positive, more effective in that sense. It's like a power potion where you drink it and you feel something instantly there. Or in simple terms, when you drink coffee, you feel energized. The same with NLP anchoring. You set the anchor, you activate it, and you feel motivated, you feel creative, you feel relaxed, focused, whatever you need. Traditional conditioning, you just follow the rules. It's kind of like following the manual automatically. So it's an unconscious thing. Yet both things are working. Both techniques are having their own purpose. It's just anchoring, I believe, is more positive and useful for you. Next question is, what are the most common techniques in NLP anchoring when we set the anchors? It is a great question, and the first thing that person should pay attention to is poor timing. Poor timing requires you accuracy in observing the person and just finding the right moment before the state is peak. This is something that does not come from the first time. This is something that comes with some practice and experience and observations, but it definitely comes and it's worth. How do I know if I set the anchor at the right time? Well, it's also an interesting question. It's by following the state where the person is and how he is feeling. You can start with the simple states like happiness, joy, excitement. When you make person excited or joyful, I recommend to start with your friends because you know them, you know what's their peak happiness, peak excitement, and the lowest. So you can judge situation more accurately and to know when is the right time to set the anchors. Next mistake that people mostly are making is impure state. So mixing the states that are, let's say, excitement with anxiety, sadness with anger, and for example creativity with confidence. The impurity allows person to be a little bit unclear with what he should be feeling at that moment, and it's perfect solution for the beginners, for those who are just entering NLP or are practitioners for a while, to start with the pure emotions, with pure states where you know exactly what person is feeling, or you make them feel the exactly same state, and start with that. Later on, you can stack them, you can stack states and create master anchors, but it's a very good approach to start with simple things and understand how they work. Later on, you can build on that. The next mistake that people are doing is overusing the anchors that they set. Anchor is like a coffee, right? You should not be drinking coffee 10 times in a day. The same applies for the anchors. When you use it or too much, they fade away and they just lose their strength. They lose their effect. In that case, you have to reset them to strengthen them and bring back their effectiveness. Ideal use is when you really need it, when you need to feel that state and to go into that. So don't overuse, don't abuse. Great things should be in moderate state, and if by chance you lost effectiveness of your anchors, just reset them for yourself or for your clients. The next thing is lack of uniqueness. This is very common. In NLP, like in any field, you have to be creative and you have to be setting unique anchors when you work with your clients or yourself. Unique anchors means that something that should not or would not be replicated or done at any point during the day by mistake or just by intention. For example, scratching the cheek or keeping your arms like this or anyhow other way. Your anchors should be unique and different from the gestures, actions that or behavior that you do every day. So that's with NLP mistakes. The next question is, how do I create NLP anchors? This question I uncovered in the previous video, where you find the link in the description of this video. So go there, watch it, and then come back if you have more questions. But just to summarize what NLP anchoring requires to be set in the right way, first of all is to determine the state that you want to feel. For example, confidence, creativity, focus, calmness, excitement. Next one is to recall the moment in your life when you were feeling it the strongest. VAK stands for what I see, what I feel, what I hear in that moment, meaning that you relive it. The third thing is, in an NLP anchoring process, to set the unique anchor. Choose the anchor in advance. Decide what you're going to use in advance, not in the moment, because then it's too late. A unique anchor for yourself, what you were setting to bring it back later when you need it in your life or your colleagues need it in their lives. Next is to relive the moment vividly. And the last step is to test the anchor. So after you set the anchor, you break the state by shaking yourself off, asking random questions. And after that, you test the anchor, whichever you set on yourself or for the person, and see if that works. If that works, if person feels the state, the emotion, the feeling, it's great. If person doesn't feel that, then you repeat the process and see, or at least ask what might not work so well. The common practice or the mistake is that person is not able to relive situation fully. So just amp it up as much as you can. You can use phrases like make it 10 times stronger, amplify the sounds, amplify the colors, make it close, vivid, bright, whatever you're feeling, seeing in that moment. For me, that's a master phrase that most of the times does the job. The next question that people mostly ask is, what are the examples of NLP anchoring in practice? So anchors can be set in three ways. One is visual, second is auditory, and the third is kinesthetic. There's a fourth one, conversational, but we get into this a little bit later. Visual anchors is something that you see. It can be a shape, it can be a thing, it can be a person, it can be a place, location, a road sign, a thing on the table. If someone sees a knife, if they had recently injury, they will feel instantly stressed, at least, right? If person recently won a sports competition, for them seeing some pictures, some medals, uniform, or how they were dressed in that moment, they will be remembering how they felt in that moment, and it brings back the state. The second thing I already mentioned is the sounds. It can be simple sounds like police sirens, it can be a song that makes you calm or excited or creative. I think we all play songs when we are working. The third thing is kinesthetic, is a touch anywhere on your body, or it can be a thing on your hand, some jewels, some gadgets that you have for yourself. So that covers the anchoring in practice, how we do it, and what are the types of anchors. The next one is, can NLP anchor be used for personal development? Yes, and it should be used for personal development. Mostly because it boosts your state and your performance in that situation. So when we think about stressful situations in your everyday life, let's say you are afraid to drive a car, you are afraid to go on vacation to a new place, right? You are afraid, for example, to pick up the call, go for the workouts, have a conversation with your partner. NLP anchoring helps you to get motivated. It helps you to be excited about the things that you are going to do. It helps you to feel confident, creative, happy, whichever way you want to feel. Anchors do help. And because you have those states, it helps you to perform in that moment. So be it also in a learning environment, you are studying something, you're learning something, to recall that state, to be focused, to learn easy and fast, and then NLP anchors does great jobs. At the same time, it helps with your limiting beliefs. I think we all have moments in our lives when we feel down, when we doubt ourselves. Anchors helps to overcome those moments, and instead of feeling disempowered, again, feel motivated and doing and taking the action. That covers the NLP anchors for personal development. And the next question is, can NLP anchors be used in professional settings? Definitely yes. And again, it should be used in professional environment because, again, just like in personal development, in professional settings, you have the same moments. Fear for meeting, anxiety because of procrastination, stress about the deadlines, leadership situations where you have to explain something, where you have to be patient, where you have to be understanding. When you are on the stage where you have to present something and you don't feel like doing that, you feel fearful or maybe anxious, NLP anchors helps you to trigger those emotions, those states that pushes you there, and without even noticing, you overcome any challenge that you have in your professional environment. And because this is a general video for educational purposes, I'm not able to go into the depth. If you want specific examples, advices for your situation, we do read comments and just write something in the comments what challenges you have and how you would like to use anchors to overcome those situations. I will respond and answer for you in the comments. The next thing that people mostly ask is, can I use anchoring to get rid of negative feelings? Of course. NLP anchoring is mostly for creating positive states, for positive and empowering states that helps you to get rid of anything that you don't want. There is such concept as collapsing the anchors. Let's say, as I mentioned before, you get injured with a knife recently, and whenever you see the knife, small or big, sharp or not, you instantly feel fearful or at least anxious, and you just don't like that moment in your life. The way to do it is to take the knife or to look at the knife and remember when you were very smooth using the knife. A knife can bring you a happy moment. Maybe you were cooking, preparing some food, or you were constructing something and you felt very confident and smooth and professional with the way you use the knife. Or you can just remember, relive situation where you just felt calm, relaxed, confident, and just connect that state with the image of a knife and see how it works, see how it goes. The same goes with phone calls, alarm clocks in the morning. I know many people who had set their favorite songs as an alarm clock in the morning. That I don't advise, because your favorite songs becomes your most hateful songs. And that's also a perfect example of anchoring and conditioning at the same time. To create a positive change in this situation, to collapse the negative anchor association with that song and the feeling, all you need to do is, again, relive situations, relive moments in your life when you felt happy, when you listened to this song, and just bring that state back again. A tip for those who have their songs as alarm clocks: before you do that, set the song as something that is giving you motivation, that is kicking you to take action and move. But again, as I mentioned before, the most frequent mistake that people do is overusing the anchors. So in this case, you can try to see how the alarm anchor works, but it is not the right way how you set the anchor or use the anchor. And one thing also about collapsing the anchors, negative and positive feelings, is when we collapse two anchors, let's say same strength, usually in most cases the positive feelings overpower or overcome the negative ones. And that's why when you create a positive memory, a state over something that is negative as a trigger, it overcomes that state as well. And in this way, you get rid of all kind of bad associations in your life. And same thing that gave you fear, anxiety, can bring you neutral, nothing, no feelings, or even something positive. Try and see how it goes. So that's it with the NLP most frequently asked questions about NLP anchors. Hope this video brought value to you and helped you to understand anchors a little bit better and easier. As always, any questions, any comments, feel free to write down below in the video in comments. We do read them and we are looking forward to get your experiences. Thank you for watching this video. We will see you in the next ones.